Oh, so we are live. I got the man of the hour in the building,
Mm-hmm.
Travis Harrington, not your average engineer. I don't
Not
even know if I need to do an introduction.
no, just give it a light one. Just a light.
We're gonna give him a little bit, but you're probably joining this thing. Whenever we posted that we were going live with you, I'll be honest. I didn't tell you this before we hopped on here. This is probably the biggest response for a Q&A that we've got on our page, on our channel, on our Discord.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, man, let me go ahead and get my fresh cut.
Let's give
This
them.
isn't every day. I've been lacking for about 3 weeks, but I said,
Okay,
man, if we're getting this type of response, let me go ahead and call my barber up.
and get that
Uh,
fade.
but if they don't know this guy, it's your engineer's favorite engineer. Um, Let me see if I can. I'm gonna drop a comment on where they can follow you at. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just drop your IG, check him out on IG. But yeah, I know with what we were just talking about. I came across you because you are, man, everybody as an engineer, everybody wanted your sound. So you are Rod Wave's recording engineer, not only recording engineer, but you're mixing the records.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, I went through your other credits. You got Sheck West in there. You
Mm-hmm.
got Bieber. You got John Legend. You got Saint John.
Mm-hmm.
Man, like you can Google this guy, but I think I'll let you give the introduction. That's just a little
No, that,
tease.
that was good enough, man. Let's just clap it up, man. Let's clap it up, man. You know what I mean? Well, we're in the building, man. We're in the building, man. We're doing it. We're doing it. Oh, that was
See
good.
that?
That was good.
Hey,
That's
I
pretty
try.
good, man. But yeah, definitely, man. It's good to be here. It's came to share some information. You know what I mean? And let's have a good time, man. Let's talk about it. You know what I mean? This is my first Q&A for real because I'm a more like I'm just be chilling, man. I'm not, you know what I mean? I don't do too much talking and all that stuff. So it'll be good. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, well, I think an easy way to kind of get going. I think at least for me, one, like I'm kind of starstruck. I'm not gonna lie to you because, like I told you, I was studying your stuff months ago, and our
Mhm.
guy Prizzy, another owner here of my audio academy, he told me that we were going to be able to bring Travis on. And I was like, man, I was just going through this man sound on sound article, um, and just kind of hearing a little bit more of your backstory. I think that's always helpful for me. So maybe we can kind of, before we dive into the Q&A, maybe just kind of like if you're cool with it, just kind of the backstory. How'd you get into engineering or music, and what that looked like, kind of the come up story to where you are now.
Um okay, so to make a long story short, backstory, I started doing music in high school. Or like, early high school. Well, everybody tries to rap and all that stuff. So we'll fast forward. Started doing music in high school, started making beats and stuff, you know what I mean? Fruity Loops, all that stuff. And to be honest, I didn't know about engineering when I first got into music. I didn't understand what that was. Like I didn't understand that position within the studio and that position within records. You know what I mean? So because it's not really glorified, especially back then, it wasn't glorified. Now you have more information because the internet, but at the time it was still the internet, but it wasn't, out like that. So I didn't know much about engineering, so I was making beats and producing around school and finding artists and stuff like that. But when I ended up going to LA, and I went to LA for work, I'm gonna give you a brief synopsis of pretty much because I could go into detail, but it'll probably take up this whole thing. But I went to LA for work to work a job with my pops, and I never really wanted to like work a regular job or anything like that. I've always wanted to do music. So I'm out there. I've been trying to do music, blase, blase, and I drive past this school called Recording Institute, Los Angeles Recording School. So I drive past Los Angeles Recording School, and I say, all right, I'm gonna go there. So I fill out the stuff and do all that stuff, and you know what I mean. But at the time, see me, I hadn't really um graduated high school properly. I've ended up not graduating on time, so I've kind of had like a lesson learned. Like, man, you go to school, you're paying for this, you should take it serious. So when I got in there, I didn't really even know what it was about. They kind of taught me about engineering after I signed up for the school. I thought I was going to production school To be honest, I thought I was going like to learn to make beats and all the other stuff, you know. So when I get in there, they're like, "Who doesn't know what Pro Tools is? Who doesn't know this?" I'm like, starting from scratch, and from there I took it real serious, you know, and um, I ended up getting an internship at this studio that these two guys are starting up. One of the guys was named Richie Stites, and he was like a Coca-Cola kid with like Michael Jackson. As a kid, he like used to dance and stuff, but he became a producer as an adult. And there was another guy named Eban Kelly, R.I.P. God bless the dead. But Eban Kelly was a songwriter for Marvin Gaye, so they had put their money together and opened this studio. The studio was ran kind of crazy, but it was my first studio, so I get in there and I'm interning and all that stuff, and I'm learning the ropes. And I had this teacher who told me, don't wait till the end of school to get an internship. And this was a very significant suggestion from this teacher, because he said, don't wait till the end of school, because they made you get an internship at like 9 months or some shit. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna listen to him. I'm gonna try to get an internship early. So I went online and Googled studios in LA. And the first studio that came up was Larrabee. So you know how in Google you go down the line and start calling stuff. So I called Larrabee, and they basically they answered right away, said, "Hey, you can come in for an interview. Y'all accepted interns?" They're like, "Yeah, you can come in for an interview." I'm like, "Oh crap," you know what I mean? I called all these studios after, because that was the first studio I called. So I thinking like, yeah, this is easy, you know what I mean? Like, let me go. So I called all of these other studios after, none of them. So it's just Larrabee. And I didn't know about Larrabee at the time. I didn't understand what was going on. So I went in for this interview, and I was like in the second month of school, because my teacher said, try it before 7-8 months or whatever. It's a 12-month program. So I get in there, they interview me, and they give me after the interview, like I'm in there bullshitting the interview through. Like I'm talking like I know stuff, I don't know stuff, but I'm just talking. And then we get to they have the tech come out the back and hand me a test, and they're like, if you we got to give you a test. It's a paper written test. So I'm like, shit, okay. So I take the test. Lady comes back out the back, and she says, sir, you failed miserably. Do you even go to the school that you said you go to? And I was like, yeah, I go there, So I said, but I'm in my second month. She said, oh, your second month? Okay, that's why you don't know nothing. All right, well. So then I said, hey, if I come back later, will you give me another chance when I know a little more? And she said, yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. So I went back to just doing how it goes, And I got mad at work one day. And it's a true story. I got mad at work one day, and I just went to the porta potty and called him back. I said, yo, it was like 7 months in, now I'm months down the road. I'm like, yo, you remember you said you would give me another chance? She's like, yeah. Okay, come in. So when I go in that time, she's now been elevated in position. Now she's the studio manager, and the person that's doing the hiring is some girl who went to my school. So they don't even test me this time. She just says, hey, you go to LA recording school? All right, we'll give you a chance. So come back, wear this shirt, this. So when I went there, I seen what was going on. Like I went there, and it was at the time, it was Dave Pensado had a room, Jason Joshua had a room.
Oh, you were in that era.
And Manny American had a room, right? So I'm interning around the studio, and in LA, it's a different culture. Like LA, New York, and I mean, we'll probably get into this later, but LA, New York, and Atlanta have different studio cultures. So in LA, their culture is real corporate, pristine. Like you put on a collared shirt, you sit in the break room until they need you. You don't really see how everything's going unless you figure out a way to see it. So I'm there, I'm looking around, I'm like, yo, these dudes is getting paper. Like I'm looking outside, these guys are driving S5, because this is the stuff that was blowing my mind. Like these guys was driving the top Benzes, like, and these are engineers, and mind you, I said I hadn't heard about this position. So I'm learning about engineering, but then I'm also seeing guys who are winning at this. I used to go through when I would clean up, because they used to have to clean up the rooms. I would go through this is probably wrong, but I would go through the paperwork that I was straightening out, and I would just read some of it to see like what's going on. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, this shit is legit. So this dude named Tricky Stewart in The Dream, who you guys probably have heard of, like they're legends, but they come in, and I'm learning about them, and I already like their music, but I don't understand to the level. So Dave Jason. It was Jason had a assistant named John Carlo. So John Carlo comes to me one day and says, "Hey man, what you like to do? Because I like to make beats, I like to produce, I like to be more part of the record." Out at Larrabee, it was more of finishing the records. It was more of just mixing. So he said, "Hey man, what you like to do? These guys have a studio in Atlanta, and you're from Atlanta, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "They have a studio out there where they create records, and they a production facility." So I'm like, "All right, cool." I'm looking at it and I go and do some research and I'm like, "Oh, that does look a little more like where I want to be." So I end up my family was in Atlanta at the time, so and I was in LA. So I go to the studio manager and I tell her, I say, "Hey man, I gotta go do some stuff in Atlanta for 2 weeks," because my logic was, if I don't get nothing, if I don't go down here and find nothing in 2 weeks, I need to come back to Larrabee because everybody's telling me Larrabee is like, when I would say I was an intern at Larrabee, everybody would be like, "Oh my God, you're an intern at Larrabee?" Like it would be like a thing. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, this is a thing. I need to make sure that I can keep this. I don't just walk away to risk it. So I say, "Yeah, I gotta go to do some family stuff for 2 weeks." And I was an intern. She's like, "All right, whatever, take 2 weeks off." I go to Atlanta, start sending out my resume, and that's when I really seen what was going on, because as soon as I sent out my resume, every studio's hitting me back. Every studio's hitting me back, except for the one that I want, which was Red Zone, Triangle Sound. So everybody's hitting me back. Everybody's hitting me back. I get an internship at Zach's. I'm there. It was during the time where Polo the Don had the studio for the entire year. I forgot what label it was, but they booked Zach recording for the entire year. It was Hit Boy and Chase was like his under guys, and you know what I mean. And it was fire. So I'm there, and I have this raggedy car that I'm driving. It was like my high school car. It's beat up, and we get in, and I have to go do a run, and my car breaks down. So I come back. I tell the other guy, "Hey man, you got to do this next run." This seems petty, but it's a big significant part of the story, because we get to a whole argument about who's gonna do the run in front of everybody in the kitchen. And I'm an intern, so I'm like, "Yo, we're fired." Like after it was done, I was like, "Yo, we're fired, bro. We're never gonna be welcome back here again." But through the grace of God, right when I left there, I got a call from a Miss Cynthia Harrell, who was working at Triangle Sound as the studio manager. So as soon as I walk out after this whole debacle, my shit is squandered. I feel like I'm about to have to go back to LA, which is I don't want to, but I get a they call me at Triangle Sound, and they call me in for an interview, and I go in and they ask me things, and it's a lot of who you know, what you know type of things, and they basically give me the position as an assistant engineer right then on the spot. With Cynthia just looked out. I mean, it was like a blessing from God. But in that moment is when everything shifted for me. You know what I mean? Because that's when I was in a position where I could actually capitalize. That's where I was, because when I was at Larrabee, I would like a lot of this music stuff is you have to see your trajectory and be able to drive that lane and know, and it's a lot of personal understanding of who you are and all this stuff. So I kind of knew who I was and what I wanted to do, but I couldn't find the right matches. But when I got there, they were producing at a high level and showing you how to make a complete record. So I felt like I was in the right place. And that was the start of it all. You know what I mean? When I got in there, and yeah. And we built from there.
Yeah.
That was basically the beginning. So all of that took me to the beginning. And then that's where I began.
Yeah. So when was that
Jeez.
kind of all that start happening? What year was that?
Man, that was
Frame was.
oh so I got hired at Triangle Sound in November of 2008. And mind you, I graduated high school in 2007. So I went to LA. I was only there for a year, less than a year, you know what I mean? And I was already back in Atlanta at Triangle Sound. So, and it was 2008, and they were killing it at the time, man. It was like, yo, wide eye, like, yo, what's going on? Like, this is crazy. But at the same time, it was a great place to learn and a great place to be, and it was a great starting point.
Yeah. Man, I'd love to hear a little bit about like the different studio cultures. So like I know we talked a little bit about my background. So like most of my studio experience has been, I'm native to South Carolina. I just kind of, if you can't tell by the country slang that Prizzy gives me a hard time with. Actually, shout out to Prizzy.
Don't
We
let
just kind
me
of
like
threw him in
Yo.
here.
welcome him in. Welcome him in.
Hey, man.
Yeah, look at this,
Yo,
man.
that is nice.
Yeah.
Where you get that?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Where'd that come from?
In the
He
sound.
brought that. We need to cut him a check. He's adding the production value to our podcast right now.
Yo,
He's got the horn
that's
too.
fire.
If you drop a
He's
little
not your
bomb,
average engineer. That's nice.
Yep. You know.
Okay. Well,
Well, welcome, Prizzy.
hey,
My
man,
goat.
thanks for
Prizzy's
having me.
my goat. Y'all don't know that, but Prizzy's my goat.
Nah, man, it's a two-way street, man.
It's fire.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What's the word, guys?
What were you saying though, bro?
yeah, I would love to kind of hear like what that looks like, because like I kind of just stayed local. Like I've got some experience going down to some studios in Atlanta, but I've personally never even been to LA. I've never been to New York on anything music, but maybe like for the engineers who's just kind of, they're debating on like, hey, like, should I move to Atlanta? Should I move to LA? Should I move to New York? Maybe just like briefly, like, what does that look like? The differences.
In my opinion, I would think that, because this is how I thought about it. Like, man, I looked at it. You know what I mean? I looked at it and I kept in mind what I was trying to do. Like, I'm into production. I'm into the inceptions of the record. I'm into the beginning. I'm into, you know what I mean? Like creating. Like that was my thing. So in LA, a lot of times is you have to have done some kind of work in your life to get to LA. You know what I mean? Like most of the music industry people in LA are not just starting and then turning up. A lot of people who start and then turn up in LA, they kind of, no shots at nobody, but I see a lot of guys kind of, they don't go for the gusto. You know, it's like you have to, you kind of, LA's like you already done something and now you're in LA working. That's how I viewed it. And the culture of Atlanta was different to me because so if we look at the music industry in Atlanta and how it developed, right? You have the biggest piece of it is LaFace, right? So
right.
LaFace comes down here and it changes the entire landscape of the music industry. But the reality to it is Southside Studios, where Jermaine Dupri was, TLC, all that stuff, that was a house. That was his mother's house. So the culture that was in from the beginning of the inception of that time period was home studio culture. You know what I mean? It's not corporate studio culture that you would get in New York or LA. It's home studio culture. So in a lot of studio people in Atlanta might say, oh, in Atlanta, somebody will walk in your session and it's a lot going on and all stuff, but it's derived from home studio culture. Like Southside Studios was Jermaine Dupri's mother's house, you know? So with all of that stuff kind of, I kind of looked at that and I was like, well, I want to be in the beginning. I want to be able to touch the top and the bottom, you know? And that's Atlanta. Atlanta, like you could go to the club and you could be in MJQ and it'll be an A-list actor in there. You know what I mean? Like just chilling in the back of the club. It's like there's no, like LA is real clicked up. Like, you know what I mean? Like they have a lot of house parties. The way the laws work out there, you can't buy drinks after like 1:30 or something like that. So most people party in homes because the bars close. That has an effect on the music industry. You know what I mean? Because it becomes a home party. So if you're in a club in LA and everybody's about to leave the club and go to Khloe Kardashian's house to hang out, who's getting the invite to Khloe Kardashian's house? It's not the little guys that was just in the club hanging out with y'all. And y'all was talking to them all nice and like making them feel like they were a part of it, but they're not coming to where it happens. And you need to get there to where it happens. In Atlanta, you can get there. Like you can be in the club, meet a person who's rich and wealthy and successful, and you could probably go back to where they're going after. Or you could spend enough time with them in that environment that they're in to where you could make a good enough impression to where you can move forward in that regard. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the thing I noticed about the difference between Los Angeles and Atlanta. You know what I mean? And New York is where the business happens. Like we all know that. That's the business. That's in the way the city's set up, it's just a different studio culture. All the studios are hidden and everything. You know, it's a different thing going on in New York. Like New York people say, they always talk about how Atlanta works with everybody, and we share the studios and stuff like that. But that's, like I said, it comes from home studio culture. It comes from Dungeon family, like literally in the basement working on stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to where it's like, okay, if you're Dungeon family and it don't care, you're popping, but you're working in a basement, you're probably not gonna be as clicked up and boxing people out to come to your sessions as much as you would be if you were in a big facility in Los Angeles with a gate around it and a person at the gate. You got to press the button to get in. You know what I mean? All of that stuff keeps people out. You know what I mean? But Atlanta comes from home studio culture. It comes from, hey, bro, we trying to make a record. We trying to, you know what I mean? And it still shows to this day in the way that the music is created. You know what I mean? It could get dangerous because you have 13 guys in one studio with everybody strapped. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But of those 13 guys, 5 of those guys end up with record deals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 300 was coming into 11th Street, signing everybody. Alamo and 300 was coming into 11th Street Studios, signing everybody up. Boom, boom, boom. You, Slime Life Shawty, you're with them? Okay, cool. Sign you up. Oh, Lil Key? Okay, sign you up. Oh, Lil Got It? Oh, sign you up. You know what I mean? So why would you know what I mean? So it kind of creates that thing where people have the perception of, oh, wow, they're in the music in Atlanta, they work with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just the culture. It's just how it is. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever really, like, it's $20 cut line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Home of the $20 cut line, man. Biggest club. Got Lil Wayne coming to perform in $20 cut line.
Yeah. I think you said something super, super important about Atlanta is the fact that you could touch the top and the bottom in the same space. And I don't know if there's anywhere else in America, like
I haven't found
I remember
yet.
coming up and I would be at, the Hood Studios coming up with my boys from 808 Mafia, Pierre Bourne, all these different people, Inc. And we would all come up. But then literally the next block over would be Triangle. And I would be with Tricky and Alessia Cara. And this is like the same night. You know what I mean? So it is a very rare place to be and to come up.
Yeah. It's beautiful, man. To me, I love it here. You know, I love it in the A.
Yeah.
So hopefully
what do you feel
that's
like Atlanta's missing?
From what? The music industry or just in general?
Yeah. The music industry.
I don't know. I mean, we got Florida coming up right now. Florida killing it. Memphis is killing it. But for the past, like, 20 years, has it been? I'll say 20 years, bro. It's been Atlanta. So I don't know what Atlanta's missing, because what it could be missing to some could be a hindrance to some. You know what I mean? So example, there could be guys who get higher up and be like, hey, we need to implement this, or this needs to be a little bit more like it is in LA, or a little more like New York. But then that kind of cuts the bottom out. And the bottom is where the gold's in the dirt, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I love Atlanta. I think it's great. You know what I mean? I think right now they got a lot of crime rappers, like, you know what I mean? So Ricos and things like that going on. So that's good. That's stopping a lot of the young street guys coming up and doing music. But other than that,
for
man,
the time being,
need a new wave.
Yeah.
We just need a new wave. That's what I think. I think it's just time for a new wave of young artists to come with a new sound.
And I think that sounds like the sound of Atlanta has continued to evolve. Like the new sound is the Atlanta sound. Like you said, for the last 20 years, like that is crazy. How they've dominated, and the sounds continue to evolve.
And the impact of technology has impacted the recording process, which has impacted the culture. And I think that's where we're at right now. You know what I mean? It's like, when I say that, I mean the technology is the Pro Tools, the audio recording, the way we record music right now. The punch record, has impacted the Atlanta music. You know what I mean? It's to where somebody, and then the next line they have no line, and the way they're writing this music is I'm coming up with each little piece as it goes. I
didn't know that was only an Atlanta thing. I didn't know that started in Atlanta.
Yeah.
When I first moved to Atlanta, 2014, 2015-ish, I had a session with Stoney from the Loopholes. And he got so mad at me because I was just doing, like, you know,
Oh
this whole
no.
line. It was him, Ink. It was a handful of us in the room. And he got so
Mhm.
mad and he kind of taught me the concept of punch recording. And that changed everything. Like, had that moment never happened, I don't know if I'd be here today. Just
Mhm.
because it is like an ongoing thought. Nobody goes in the booth with pen and paper. Nobody, you know, has pre-written, 8 mile notebooks. They just go in and just go. They think of the melody and they add words, or maybe they don't. Maybe they just keep the melody and that's the song. That's
Sometimes it may be
Atlanta,
a couple
man.
words, and then it'll be the melody in between, and it'll be a little hey, hey,
Yeah,
guys, and all that.
exactly.
And it go back to some
Hey, man,
words.
that's Atlanta. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but it's also tapping into the feeling. So I understand it, but I also sometimes would like for it to not interrupt the continuity of the records that are coming out. You know what I mean? Because sometimes that's what it seems to be with me, where it's like, okay, you could tell a punch recorded record because it may have this line about this, that line about the same thing, and then the next line about the same thing, and then the fourth line is just like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? You were rapping about this over here, and now you're just talking about something completely different, and then you went back to that.
Yeah,
You know, so but that's
yeah.
technology, though. You know what I mean? We have to leave room and say that that's because of the kid who was in his house and he wanted to record and wanted to rap like Future and all these other guys, and can't figure it out. Like, whoa, I could record a line, sit and think. So it seems easier, but just don't lose the continuity of the record. That's
Yeah.
just my
Yeah,
suggestion.
Well, man, I
yeah.
see. I can kind of see some of our comments. I don't think you guys can. So I want to go ahead and start pulling these up. And I apologize to everybody viewing. I love to hear where y'all are from. We typically kind of jump off like that. I love to hear where y'all are tuning in from. But I do see some questions coming through. So one, I'm going to jump down here. Then I see our guy Mix by Tay. Shout out to Mix by Tay. He's one of the My Audio Academy premium members. He also has a very
Hey,
solid channel if you want to check him out. So with Rod Waves
I've
mixes,
mixed my Tay 2 times.
let's
mixed
go
by
ahead and
Tay
dive
two
into a little
times.
bit of the Q&A. Because I'm sitting here, I got my notepad ready over here too. Are most Rod Waves mixes mostly 2 tracks or beat stems?
I would probably say 60-40, probably 60-40, 50-50 kind of situation. You know, it depends. It could be a 2-track, it could be a beat stem, it could be a 2-track, it could be a beat stem at the end and just a 2-track in the beginning up until this
Oh
part. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
the filtered
It
beat. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It literally to me, it just depends on what is going. It's so many circumstances with that nowadays. It's so many
Hmm.
circumstances with that because a lot of these producers, like if I ask you to send me the track out and you send the wrong track out twice, I'm not asking you again. Not.
Two
And
track it
I
is. Two
yeah,
track
because
it is.
No.
you can't do it. You know what I mean? Like you don't know how
All
to do it.
day.
So
Yeah.
instead of you
Yeah.
saying, the smartest thing would be to say, "Hey, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Can you show me?" And I FaceTime you and show you. But if you just send me, and then it's
If
like,
they send the
you know,
same loop with the same 8 missing sounds.
yes, because what happens is we
Done.
we could be out eating with our family, and we could look at the email and come in and say, "Okay, boom, we see." I looked at the WeTransfer. I see files in there. Okay,
52
cool.
megabytes.
Yeah, I see a bunch of
You all
files. So I'm
wrong.
like, all right, whatever. Then and then you get in there, it's like all the wrong stuff when you pull it up. And now it's 3 in the morning. You decided to mix this record right now and work on this record. And it's 3 in the morning. It's like, so now I'm supposed to wait on you to get up, send me these. No. That's no. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let the label know, hey, if y'all gonna get it, then y'all can get it and send it to me. But if not, I'm about to make this thing bang. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And it's like that. But
Yeah.
the 2-track versus the files thing really to me got blown up by the Future song 2 Times in a Row. Wasn't that the song? Was it 2 Times in a Row? What was the name of that record?
Hmm.
You remember that one? That one was 2-track though, and that was a big hit. And when I found out that was
Uh,
2-track, I said, "Oh, okay."
it could be done.
Hits, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we
Oh yeah.
so let's see. But
Yeah.
some stuff is crazy. Some stuff you'll get and you'll be like, yo, this sub came in and I can't hear nothing now. What's going on?
Hmm.
Like, who would you know what I mean? So then you need the track out files, or you just need to figure out how you're gonna fix that.
Yeah.
I know we had a previous question about this. I think you actually got this one, Prizzy, for your Q&A. So like, say you do get a 2-track and it's like, man, like the producer's lacking on sending the files, or it's like, hey man, like I don't even have the files. Say you
Yeah.
do get like that low end and it's just like slamming. What's maybe your go-to method of taming it, but not losing the body?
Yeah.
You saying you're asking me or Prizzy?
You, Travis.
Okay. Well, it's a number of things that could be done, but I would just say, if I'm trying to, I probably would get the files in that case. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll probably just get the files. I'll probably just wait and get the files. You know what I mean? Because EQing it out and doing all the extra stuff, it's like I'm not gonna feel confident in what I did, and that's a big
Yeah.
part of what it is. You know what I mean? It's like I need to at least feel confident and be able to work it into my process. So if it's something that's just the sub is going crazy, and you know, and if it can't get the files, then you can figure out how to EQ it out or do some kind of compression tricks, some parallel compression tricks. But to be honest, if it's just that bad, then just try to get the files. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
my outlook on it, though. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because this is my thing. Once I turn it in, and then let's say it just doesn't do that good, I'm gonna be mad at myself because I'm gonna think like that was the whole. But if I feel good about it, then I wouldn't think
Yeah.
that.
I think it's all program dependent because sometimes you get a 2-track and you fight the opposite battle. You might get the stems and everything might be right, but when you toggle between the two, it's something about that 2-track. I don't know if it's because it's an MP3 or whatever. Like there's some type of glue about it that makes the song special. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes those track outs, even if you have it at Unity, it just don't hit the same way. And of
Don't.
course, you can, do everything you wanted to do to it, processing wise, but you might send it to the artist and they still say, let's go with the 2-track. And that
And you
happens
know,
too.
when it happens like that, one, I don't trip. Two,
Yeah.
I think it has to do with the software. You know what I mean? I think it has to
Yeah.
do with software, ones and zeros, computer, because certain stuff like coming out of certain software, you're like, okay, I
It's
get it. You know
FL,
what I mean?
bro.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
FL.
FL beats are different. Like,
it's the FL craze. You know what I mean? That's exactly what it
Yeah.
is. FL
Yeah. And it's
versus.
something with that architecture, something with that floating point. Like,
Mm-hmm.
every now and then you'll get something that you just can't recreate the same way. I think one time we did a live stream and I was saying, I don't know if it was here, but honestly, bro, FL is the new MPC. Sometimes I'll literally take somebody's drums and rerun them through FL myself, as if it's like a Lavery or something, and then put it back in Pro Tools
Mm-hmm.
because
And
that's the only thing that's gonna make it hit the same way. Like there's no replication for that. Just use
yeah,
the same thing.
yeah. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it was an era where people like, oh, the MP has this and the push from the MP and all this other stuff. But it's like throughout my career, I've watched the MPC try to catch up. That's it.
Basically. Yeah,
Like that. I just been watching the MPC,
basically.
Akai, and people over at Akai try to catch up. And the reason why you can't catch up is because you need a computer. You know what I mean? Like that's
Mhm.
just it. That's just where we at. And I don't see, you know what I mean? I don't understand the whole this is that and that's this and what you use. I don't get that. I think if FL, it could definitely be the new NPC. It's the new joint that everybody's making hits on. So it is what it is. It's the new. It's
And it
it.
got a sound. It got a
Mm-hmm.
sound and it's hard. You know it when you hear it, and you know it when it wasn't used with it. So
Yep.
it's like I think people should start treating it as
And
such. It's
and I
like
think
an
a lot of,
NPC.
not to cut you off, I think a lot of the hate that the NPC received, I mean that the Fruity Loops received, was a lot of gatekeeping through skill level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Fruity Loops made everything easier. Like they cared about, okay, we'll make this easier for you. We'll make these the little blocks on there look like little tombstone little things, with eyes and stuff, and you can see the eyes light up when it goes over it. Stuff like that makes it very simple for a person to click this, hit play. Oh,
Mhm.
that sounds terrible. Let me move it over one. Oh, that
Yeah.
sounds good. Let me move it over here. Let me try to click this. You know, where MPC, you kind of had to you had to have a certain understanding of music, and you would see, okay, I'm gonna have to count these bars. I'm gonna have to know I'm punching in at this bar. I'm gonna know I'm starting here. I had to know how to cut a sample. You know what I mean? But it's like as
Yeah.
technology moves on, it's I don't know because the way we listen to music, the technology that we listen to music on is moving on,
Yeah.
moving forward.
I
So
think
how
everything is moving forward.
that's what I'm saying. So how we make it, you can't hate on that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can't hate because it's got to move forward too. Well, that's just how I
Yeah.
look at it. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some guys
And I mean, to
killing.
your point, like, the whole NPC debate, you did have to have a certain level of musicality and you had to perform the beat, even if it was just for
No,
a
let's be
bar
real.
or a
No, let's
couple
be real. Let's
bars.
be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. The NPC was kind of difficult. That shit was kind of
I
difficult.
still to this day, like, I'm a
Like,
basic user at best. Like, I
and
don't know
that
how
dude,
I got through being Tricky's engineer. Like, 'cause I
I'm
used to
telling you,
finesse
that
it
shit is
the
like
best way I could because
you
that
had
was
to
I'm
have.
not
not
my
even going to
thing.
speak on this because I have no clue how to do it.
Yeah,
I could
you had
figure
to.
it out if the pressure's on and there's
Mhm.
something big about to happen. Some reason I just turn on and I can do it. But there's so many people that are way more equipped with that NPC.
Mhm.
It's just what it was. FL, I came up making beats on FL. It was like a video
Yep.
game for me when I was younger.
Yep.
Why
Um,
would yeah. And my ass, I was
but
trying to be different, but so I was trying to be different. So I learned about FL, but then I was like, yo, everybody's using this. I'm gonna go get. And I went and got this software called Storm 2.0, which still to this day no one's ever heard of. And I
I've
was
never
making,
heard of that.
that sounds like a
yeah,
Star Wars game.
it was called Storm 2.0, and I was making my beats on there, and it was like it was real similar to Reasons. You had like little modules that you would load up in there, and then you could do whatever you
It
want
was
with
on
the mod.
PC or Mac,
Um, PC. No, it was on Mac.
Linux.
No, it was PC. It was PC at the time. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It was PC. It was before, it was as Mac was evolving into what it became. You know, but I
That
think
sounds
this.
like something that came with some shoes, something. It
Yeah,
came.
yeah, it was free. It was free. Put it that way.
Yeah,
It was definitely easy to get. You can
yeah.
get it right there on LimeWire. But the thing about it is I think the step sequencer coming in. I think if the MPC figures out a way to take the workflow that the step sequencer has created for people and really cater to that, and not just, hey, we made an MPC with a step sequencer. You know what I mean? Or just like really
I mean, that's
understand.
the essence of FL, is the step sequencer and the fact that it's pretty much unlimited floating point. So
But
you can have a very basic understanding of clipping. You could
that's the
literally just duplicate the kick 1,000 times and it'll just hit harder and harder
Yeah.
and harder.
yeah.
I learned that trick on YouTube. I remember I had about 3 kicks whenever I first started making beats.
Hey,
Mhm.
Clear your kicks.
And what the guys on the MP would do, they would take the 3 kicks and put them on one pad and
yeah,
create a kick sound, and then
yeah,
the mix engineer would have to make the kick.
yeah,
You know what I mean? They would just have the
yeah,
kick sound, and then
yep.
we're gonna go, and that's when you get all that. Oh, I side chained another kick to this
Yeah.
kick and put a body of this kick, and I used that was MPC shit, man. These motherfuckers are adding digital, beautiful, amazing samples that have been designed into, you know what I mean, a simple step sequence. But it's like we can't stop it, so don't hate on it.
I mean, honestly, that's an ode to how great FL Studio probably is. It's so
Yeah, we need an
sophisticated under
affiliate
the
link.
hood
We
that
need to
it's
drop a
simple
little
for the
affiliate
user.
link right in the comments.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like Logic, Ableton, like they're all incredible, like neck and neck in my opinion. But
Ableton's the best.
FL
Ableton's
Ableton
the
is probably my favorite, just off
yeah.
of what it can do. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think Ableton understood that, hey, who are we competing with? We're competing with Logic, we're competing with FL, and we're competing with the MPC. And what they did was put all of that into one. It's just on you to find it and figure out how you're gonna use it, But it's in there.
Yeah,
You could step sequence, you could do anything, tune vocals, anything everything's Ableton, You could do anything in there.
Ableton is crazy.
I never cut vocals in
Crazy.
Ableton or record an actual good song in
You can
Ableton.
comp now. Yeah, I know you can comp in Ableton. The cool thing
Mhm.
about Ableton is like it's the cleanest engine. If you bounce anything down, It's as clean as audio as you'll ever get from pretty much anything.
Yeah,
Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's the opposite of what you want, but it has
true,
a sound to it too.
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Well, cool. Let's see. I see we got a couple questions popping over here. Real quick, you may or may not remember the record, but hey, Rod Wave Remix is in the building. He's been in here since the beginning of the live. I produced a "Never Get Over Me" for Rod. Do you enjoy mixing that one?
Yes. Yes, I enjoyed
That was
mixing
the
that.
two track.
I enjoyed that song. Yeah, it's crazy. It was, but it was a. I think the thing about that record is what makes that record special is where it was how it was placed in the album, like how like the inception of it. You know what I mean? Like that song was just like the album was done. We just turned the album in, everything was over with, and then I just got the call like, "Yo, pull up, pull up, we chilling." And then he just had one going like, and I'm like, oh, that's hard. He's like, that's hard as fire, and he just drops it. But the album is done. You know what I mean? And that was kind of one of the last songs that got added to that album. So
Yeah.
it was pretty cool to do that. I think we recorded
Yeah,
that
that's
song
always
in
how it works.
Savannah. I think we did that in Savannah at some resort. Yeah.
Mm.
Because we don't like throughout the Rod situation, we haven't used the studio that much. You know what I mean? It was a majority like recording, setting up wherever we set up at.
Yeah, and like going through a lot of your articles, like that's, I mean, that he don't really even like recording in studios, right? From what I've,
I don't know about now because it's like, you know what I mean? As you keep going, you want to do different things and stuff. But what I will say is, nah. And it really boils down to comfort. You know what I mean? A lot of this stuff, like comfort is a big part of music. One of Tricky's phrases that he would always use is, "We're not in the music business, we're in the hospitality business." And that's kind of an important thing to remember, is that if this person is uncomfortable in like we can go to the best studio ever. Patrick, we can go to Patrick's not the best, but we can go to the best studio ever. We can go to you know what I mean, anywhere. Like, I don't want to shit on nobody, so I'm just saying, like, we can go to the best studio ever.
Yeah.
And if you in there and you're uncomfortable, you're not gonna come out with any magic, and people will consistently beat you from their bedroom. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
how is the person beating you from the bedroom, and we have millions of dollars worth of equipment? It's like, because it's comfort. We're tapping into something that has nothing to do with studio equipment, where we record. It has nothing to do with none of that. It has to do with comfort levels. Like, what are you getting out?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I know in our promo video, whenever he was on the Breakfast Club, he was like, man, I don't let nobody up. Basically, he's just saying, I don't let nobody, get around my stuff but Travis. That's the only person I feel comfortable with. It's just me and him in the room. That's it. And I think that's a testament to you, man. Just like, that's just crazy. Like, that's one of what was it? I read something just kind of studying up for the interview. Like, he was like the #1 Billboard artist for a long period of time. And it's like, man, like, I don't want nobody else touching my stuff. Me and Travis. That's it.
And the reality to it is so, like I was telling you earlier about me being at Larry B when it was Jason Joshua, all those guys, this fully mix house. They just mix, you know what I mean? And I went through all these different steps in the beginning of my career where we had Cool Carell just in one room, and then another person in another room tuning vocals, and he's cutting vocals, and you get to see all these processes to where you're like, okay, this is you're learning each process. So with me learning each process, I'll say in the tracking side, if I take mixing everything, because I have to compartmentalize it, in the tracking side, if you're working with an actual star, somebody that you feel like is like, this is a star, they're fire, they write records that are amazing, and this needs to go. Your job to after that is to catch lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? And that's what makes tracking engineers' job so difficult, is because they might be leaving the club at 4 a.m, and that's when lightning is about to strike in about an hour when they hit the house. You know what I'm saying? So you
Yep.
need to be there to catch that lightning in the bottle, you know, and you might miss it sometimes. There's been times where I missed that lightning, where I'd be like, oh, I'm 7 hours away. I need to get there. And then I try to get there and then it's over with. Like, I'm not feeling it no more. You know what I mean? But so
Yeah.
with recording and not in studios and stuff, it just made it easier to catch the lightning in a bottle, man. It just, because, you know, when you signed to a label, all that stuff is like, all right, we'll call them and tell them I need the studio at this time. And the studio's like, oh, well, we got this person in here. You could get in tomorrow at this time. Lightning struck. It's gone. It's over with. You know what I mean? You can get in there and you still do the song. And then you guys probably been through this when you wait to do a song and then it's like, this don't sound like how we thought it was gonna sound in our head. It's because the
Exactly.
inspiration, the vibe, that part is gone now. So it's like all we have is the song. That ain't gonna just do it by itself. We needed everything that came with that, the energy, the vibe, the lightning that goes in the bottle, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that's definitely
No, that's 100% true.
Yeah.
You know,
I wish
as
I
a
had your
tracking
air
engineer,
horn.
man, like I really respect it. You said the air horn?
Yeah, I wish I had that little button. Like
Let's hit
yeah,
the air
you're
horn.
gonna have
Where
to
can we
hype
get that,
yourself
bro?
up. We're
I
gonna
got
get that. The
I'm
next
gonna
one that we do,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna be your hype man. We need that.
I got you.
But I interrupted you, Prizzy. My fault.
Oh, no, you're good. I like the air horn. Pew, pew, pew.
We got another good one here from our guy Rick Gonzalez. When it comes to working with artists and promoting yourselves when you guys were younger engineers, how did you get clients?
I used to mix for free all the time and track for free when I could. Travis, what about you?
Yeah, you do a lot. Yeah, you're gonna do a lot of stuff for free. But I would say it depends on where you're trying to go, right? So a person like Prizzy, what he just said, he mixed for free. He's a mix engineer. He's going a mixed trajectory. So he needs you to get and understand what he's trying to do. Like he needs you to see. Basically, it's a sample in the mall. It's a sample at Sam's Club. You know, you taste it. Like the mall. The mall's the best example. You know, you taste it and you eat it and it's great. And then you're like, oh, I want orange chicken now. You know what I mean? That's happened to everybody. So, but that might not work for the guy who is just trying to be a tracking guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that might not work for so you have to understand your trajectory and then figure out how to place yourself in the best places, you know? Like me, I'm very into the inception, the creation, right? So I used to have to go to places and put myself in the position. Like I would have to go to a studio where, okay, I want to be in this rap scene. All right, well, where do all the rappers go? And it's not just where do all the rappers go. It's you can find it by, okay, what label has the people that I want to work with? What label has those people? Okay, this label has it. Okay, well, where do they usually book studio time in my vicinity? Oh, right here. Okay, well, that's where those people are going to be. And then now your goal is to put yourself in that environment, and then the next thing you have to do is rely on your skill set. And if you can't, and look, because this is the you'll do all that, and then if you can't rely on your skill set when you get there, you screwed yourself. You're supposed to practice. So you practice first, and then when you're there, put yourself in the line, like put yourself in the way, like a shortstop almost, like in baseball. You know what I mean? Right there in between third base and second base, you need to be right there, ready to catch anything, and you'll catch it. But you always have to remember what your trajectory is, where you're going. You know what I mean? Like I think that's the best way, because that's going to help you on how you find those clients, because you can create clients. There's clients, like as an engineer, there's clients everywhere. It's just, what are you trying to do? So the guy who is rapping and you know he's good at rapping and everybody likes him and he's popular, but he has no money. If you're trying to be a producer or a tracking engineer or an executive or A&R, this guy might be the route. You know what I mean? And that was one of my questions I had for you guys. Do you guys think that assistant engineering is the route still?
That's tough to say.
I'll let you take that
For
one,
exposure, yeah. For exposure, yeah. And it depends on the studio you're at. If you're at a high level studio, yes. Because you're attracting a different type of clientele.
Right. He's right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You might
Which
walk in and you might be the guy who knows everything about that patch bay when Kook walks in, right? He got
mhm,
to be there for a week straight. So by day 6, 7, oh, that's my guy. You know, that's what he's thinking when he sees you. If you're not there, he's requesting you. You know, that
mhm,
alone can potentially get you a job. But again, that's a different type of game. If you're just trying to find an artist to work with, to me right now, it's probably better to just thug it out. Find somebody you rock with and they rock with you. Do it for free as much as you can within reason, or
mhm,
do it for just a small amount. So you, because you're gonna mess up too. 10,000 hours is 10,000 hours. You can't cheat the grind. But
mhm,
if you're doing something for free, the expectation kind of changes too. It's hard to get
mhm.
fired when you're doing it for free. So you might,
Definitely.
they may get the magic take and you were hitting record. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna do that. Now, granted,
Yep.
some of us we started younger or whatever, so you make those mistakes and they're just like, oh, you're young. But maybe you're not that young and you're starting out. You still got to make those mistakes. But if you're doing it with the hottest rapper in your city, okay, well, he's gonna look at you as the guy who makes mistakes, and he may not care to work with you anymore.
Mm,
But if you come up working with somebody who's around your skill level, just in their own lane, y'all can make the mistakes together. Y'all can learn together. And by the time you do meet the Rod Waves of the world, you as sharp can be.
mhm. And the thing about it is it's and the reason why I asked that question is because the when I first started, the route was you go be an intern, then you be a runner,
Hmm.
and then you be an assistant. And then after you're an assistant, you get
And
picked up by somebody or somebody takes you out the studio. But what I see now with a lot of with the game is to where it'd be a guy like you just said. He's from the neighborhood, so he's been recording this guy since he sucked, and they both sucked together. But what ends up
hmm.
happening is in that process, they created a process, and your process creates your sound. That's a very big key. Like I'm gonna give your process creates your sound.
Hey.
You know what I mean? And your sound creates your position, and your position creates your paycheck. You know what I mean? So it's a
Hmm.
you got to be in a certain thing, right? So
Hmm.
that person has created their process. They might not know what a patch bay is. They might not know nothing, but they didn't watch YouTube and been recording this person and drag and dropping, drag and dropping, and drag and dropping. And what's going to end up happening is this kid who went to school and he learned all this great stuff in the studio and he's an assistant engineer. Now you're assisting the guy who's dragging and dropping.
Yeah.
You know more than them. You
Who's
you
probably
can
10 years younger than you, by the way.
definitely they're younger
Yeah.
than you. You can outdo them. But the reality to it is this person is in the position, and so the treatment that they're going to receive, the paycheck level, all that stuff is going to be out of there, and the likelihood of this person of you being like, oh, I did this, and then they take you with them is slim to none when they bring their entire team. You know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
it has to be a like we used to wait for people. We used to wait for engineers to like mess up or like need an off day, and then you kill them on their off day.
Hmm.
They're like, oh, I need to do this with my family. Like our
That's how
engineers,
it
like,
used to work.
yeah, it could be
Yeah.
real critical. Like, oh, this person's
Yeah.
dad died. They had to go to
Dang.
Montreal
Yeah.
for
You're
a
waiting for
funeral.
that.
Even there,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm about to,
Oh, you say your dog died? You say your turtle died?
I'm
Man,
about to
I'm up
do
there.
it. They're not even gonna want to hear your
You got a
response.
job tomorrow.
What? It's over with.
Exactly. That's a
You can
job
come back,
opportunity.
but when you come back, they're gonna
Yeah.
say, "Hey, get in the seat," and then you're gonna be standing there looking like, "Oh, I used to wait, what? What do I got to do?" You ain't gonna be fired fast, but you're just gonna be looking at somebody else doing what you would usually do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me, I was down like on this last album with Rod. We worked on a lot of it in the Bahamas at this studio called Sanctuary, and this topic derived from a conversation I had down there with the assistant engineers because um I know you guys are probably aware of the Sanctuary, but I'm for the listeners. The Sanctuary is a studio that's in the Bahamas, and it's on a resort, and it's a part of the resort. So you have to like be staying in the rooms, and you have to. It's a lot for you to be able to work there. It's an immaculate, amazing studio to have everything you would ever want, but you're literally on a resort. So by the time you get to that level, to where you're going to work on your album on a resort, you kind of have an engineer, you have this, that, you have, you know what I mean? You have a solid team. So I'm asking the assistants, like, yo, the Rolling Stones was here last week, but like, does anybody get picked up out of here? And it's like everybody's so established that when they come through, they like you, they rock with you, but how can, you know what I mean? How can you get them to take you with them from the Bahamas? You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
so that kind of opened the question of like, dang, is assisting? Because this would be one of those studios where you would think like, yo, this is gonna take me to that next step. But it's just a different structured game now, where I don't know, it's
Yeah.
so many different routes you can take, you know, as an engineer, as
Yeah.
a producer. It's just different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Jordan,
think Jason.
what's your take on
I
this?
think I know Jason talks through that too, is like the power of like finding your vessel.
Yeah.
Um, and like honestly, for me, so like my background's a little bit different than these guys. So like, you know, I don't have the Grammy noms. I don't have all these different credentials behind me or whatever. But I have, and I'm not saying this in a arrogant way, but in the state of South Carolina, not too much is happening in the state. We've got our pockets, we've got our vessels, we've got a handful of people who sign, we've got a handful of people that's on the come up. But I've developed a recording studio that produces over 6 figures a year, which isn't, 7 figures, 8 figures, anything crazy. But
Anyway,
how
you have to have 6 before you get to 7.
Hey, it's
right.
close.
So
Yeah.
but maybe I can help like the guy who's on the come up that may not be in like in Atlanta or in LA. And I think in those scenarios, like I definitely think you can DM. Like we've got an intern up here right now. Well, not an intern, he's an actual engineer now. Um, he's been DMing people and landing label clients. And he went from not knowing Pro Tools last year to now he's making about $500 to $600 a mix. But for me, how I was able to develop the income was really locking in with my clients. And so much so, like there's been a few clients that signed that had label deals with Atlantic, with Alamo, and they were trying to send them down to different studios, multi-million-dollar studios, what I don't have. But whenever they would go and record at these places, they were recording with their engineers, and they literally had to tell the labels like, hey, like give me another week, I need to record it at my home studio. So that's how I've been able to develop my income. Is like, hey, like there's probably some people in the area, in your area, wherever you are now, and really just kind of tapping in and finding those vessels. And it may not even be the shot of like, hey, like I'm not necessarily out here trying to work with the top talents. Like I want to tap into them before the world knows them. And whenever you do that, like they're going to take you with you, just like Travis said.
They're gonna take you with you, and that puts that it makes me want to say something to the artists. I don't know if we have any artists in here, but the artists have the power. This is an artist industry right now.
Yeah.
At one point in the 90s and all that stuff, and back in the day, it was the producers industry. The labels would go find these producers would find artists, and they would pay the producers, and the producers would divvy it out. But right now, it's an artist game. So you as an artist have to hold down your team completely. Like when I say completely, it's like everybody's trying to save $1. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be, hey, let's send them over here because we have this deal with this people, then we can get this in the studio times cheaper, and this guy's gonna ask for this and this and this. And then you as an artist has to say, nah, this is where I want to go to record, this is where I want to go to work, this is who I want to do it, and this is who's gonna do it. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna get it done that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they can't tell you who to work with and all this stuff because it's just, like we have to sometimes take the business off of this and just say this is music. It's about music. It's not music business. It's about music. It's ran by music. Music first. Business last. Don't get it. Business is the longer word, so that's very important. You need to learn it, but it's the music business. Music first. So if you're the one who's bringing the music and controlling it, and you have to stand on your word and back your team and really, you know what I mean? And I think that'll help you in the longer run as an artist, and that's basically what you're saying is you find these people in the younger. And to me personally, I think that's the route. And I think that's the route because not to go too deep here, but I'm an advocate for engineers, right? So I was at this studio the other day and this engineer came in and he was engineering. He was supposed to engineer for this session. And they asked him, they said, when he came in, they said, hey, here's your engineer for the session. And he turns around, he said, I ain't no engineer, I'm a super producer. And I said, well, you feel better about saying that? Like that made you feel good? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, why did you feel like that? He's like, oh, because I'm a super producer. That's what I do, And I'm like, okay, so you produce, that's cool. But why did you feel like you needed to separate yourself from being the engineer on this session? You know what I mean? And I had to break it down. I said, man, we're in a technology era of music. So if I wanted to be a rapper right now, and I woke up and I said, yo, I want to rap, what's the first thing you think I'm going to do? I'm going to look for a beat, right? Because I want to rap over this beat. But do I have to pay for that beat? No, I don't have to pay for that beat. I can go on YouTube and until my music is top tier, no one's hunting me down or looking for me to make me pay for this beat because they don't know I'm on it. But next you have to record. Are you going to pay for that? Yes, you are. Because you can't do it without the studio and the engineer. So if we look at and I'm a hip hop kid. I'm into rap. That's my thing. So if we look at so I equate stuff to rap. So that's my genre. So even though I love R&B, but that's my genre. If we go through the evolution of hip hop, we had the rapper and the DJ. Why was the DJ important? Because he had the party and he had something to rap over, right? So the rapper goes there and he MCs and he talks over the DJ. So now the DJ's the guy. Okay, so you get the 80s DJs are killing, 90s DJs are killing. Cool. You've advanced the culture of DJs. Now, after that, it became more of a struggle grind situation. So now you're doing this on your house. You don't got to do a party. You can get the music out. So now what becomes most important? The rapper and the producer. Because now you need a sound. You need somebody like we just talked about earlier. These MPCs is complicated. If you rapping, you ain't about to sit here and read this MPC manual. You need to go find the guy who reads the MPC manual and he's making your beats. So now you got him, right? And then you get to a deal, and then you can record one record and get to a deal, and then now you're doing it. But how has it evolved? Now it goes back to what I just said. If you're a rapper, you're looking for an engineer. It's the rapper and the engineer era. Most of these platinum records that the producer wasn't there in the room when we made that song. Producer wasn't in the room when we made that song. I didn't meet them. We in the chat right now. We got a guy telling us he produced this and that. How come I haven't met you? Because your position has changed to now where, okay, cool, we move over here. The engineer. So you have to move it forward. And I think that's the biggest goal for us now is to move the engineering culture forward to the forefront. If you go to the hood right now and you sign up and you say, I'm going to sign you as a rapper, they're going to ask you for like $10,000 to live in the projects. And he's going to think you owe him $10,000, $30,000. He think he's about to get rich because you think he can rap good. Who told him that? The culture, because it moved forward. Pharrell, Timberland, all these super producers. I talking about this young kid coming in talking about he's a super producer. He's trying to be like Pharrell, young coach, because they have changed jewelry. St. John was talking about with Larrabee. Why, like how I got to take engineering seriously because I seen they had S550s and Benzes and multiple bank accounts and all this stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, y'all did a job of moving engineering culture forward. So now we're at the point where it has to move completely forward because it's the important piece, but it's been allowed to be not treated as such. You know what I mean? As engineers, but it's always treated as such behind closed doors. That's the thing. It's always treated as such behind closed doors. But is it treated as such to where if I go to some kid in the neighborhood and say, hey, you want to be an engineer? And he thinks he's about to get paid. Yeah. No. You know what I mean? But the producers then showed you the chains, the jewelry, the clothing deals, all that stuff. It's time. Because the technology already moved it there. These guys can't. You could go get 10,000 beats. You could go write your whole album right now. You go on YouTube, create a whole album, download your beats off YouTube, write your songs, and now you just have songs in your head and beats. What do you need? You don't need a studio. You need an engineer. You see what I'm saying? You don't need a you're gonna go to the studio because that's the tool, that's a wrench, that's the workshop for the engineer.
Yeah.
But a studio with no engineer sitting in it is what?
Pointless. It's just a room. That's crazy.
It's literally
Yeah.
just a room. It's nothing you
It
can do.
looks cool, but
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
So when
cool.
that's it.
exactly. So when I bring it full circle with is assisting worth it or going in this route, it's like it's worth it because the trickery to me, I mean, this is how I view it, the trickery, because they told you, oh, go to the studio. And then now this guy who owns the studio is going to tell you how much you make for this person coming here when they come in to holler at you. And this person is making the money off of what you bring into the table. So us as engineers, show these young engineers, show them. I live an amazing life from engineering. A lot of us do. Prizzy, you do. Jordan, you do.
Yeah.
But it's not shown to these young cats to add value to what they're doing. So the value is not there.
Yeah.
But if it's like, but value is nothing but this. Price is marketing. Value's value, price is marketing. You know what I'm saying? So, so it's the market. It's the marketing. Back to what I'm talking about. These guys in the 90s, they marketed the fuck out of being a producer. You know what I'm saying? They marketed, they have us thinking that you're gonna get $500,000 for a beat. They had us thinking, oh, it's a $100,000 beat.
Yeah.
Nigga, it's $2,500.
And be happy you got that. Yeah.
And you spend it wisely. You know what I'm saying?
Don't spend it all in
now
one
you
place.
got free for profit. Type beat. Rod Wave type beat.
Oh yeah. Rod Wave type beat.
Rod Wave
10
type
pages.
Type beat.
But it's star free for profit, star, then Rod Wave type beat.
Come on. You know what I mean?
It'll slap though too.
Yeah.
Because the beats, we just talked about it. The beats is Fruity Loops. The technology advanced. Okay, cool. Y'all figured out what the super producers from the 90s doing right now. Podding, talking, teaching, because they know, man, it ain't that the money's gone. It's that they can do it without this.
Yeah.
The money's still there. It's just and what's not being told, it really was the engineers, but that's a different conversation.
You
know what I mean? So not to get all deep and stuff, man. That's just, you know what I mean? We just
I think that was necessary.
So you young engineers coming up, man, stop this $20 mix shit. Stop this. If you're gonna do a $20 mix for free, you still have leverage in the free. You don't have no leverage in the mix in the $20 because they gave you $20, nigga.
They think that's your actual worth. That's what's crazy.
Because it's transactional.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you might as well stay free, and then hopefully you stay free. You can say, hey, bro, I never charged you for none of this, so can you throw me a couple points and a couple stuff on the back end, and now you working with something.
Yeah.
But you out here charging $20, $100, $30, $150, $200 a mix, all that. No, do it for free. Go to work. Go
save your money.
Yeah,
save your money. Don't ever do a deal out of desperation. Ever.
Ever.
And
everything's negotiable. So understand that and stand on your shit. Stand on your skill set. You know? Stand on your skill set. I'm a big proponent of that. You know, sometimes it didn't work out. You know, like I used to record Christina Milian. And then it was like for a week or so, and then we was locking in and all this stuff. And then my dad came in town to visit me, and we were going out to a family dinner. And I'm at the family dinner, and they called. Like, can you come to the studio? And I'm like, I'm at the dinner. And like, oh, come. I'm like, fuck this. I'm standing on my skill set. Never heard from them again. Never heard from them again. Did my career stop? No, it kept moving.
Yeah.
Did I spend time with my family and enjoy it that day? Great. Would I remember that session? Probably not. You know what I mean? But it's all this happy to be here shit going on right now with this engineer culture. I'm sorry, I didn't went on a tangent, y'all. I'm sorry, but
Not like I don't
But hold
I
on,
don't
hold on,
think
hold on,
I've
hold on,
seen
hold on, hold on,
anybody.
hold on, hold on. I gotta add to that because we gotta talk about what success really is. And success
mm-hmm.
goes way beyond you sitting in front of two speakers. Success goes way beyond Instagram. Success is your real life. And if your day-to-day life is what you want it to be, you successful. That's when you stand on, hey, we got this going on. Can you come in? No, I'm with my family. I'm with my son. I'm with this person. I'm with that person. No. So
Mm-hmm.
that I can't stress that part enough. What does your real life look like?
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
success. That's what you strive for as an engineer, as a producer, as anybody, right?
And
Don't just chase the belt and the pants and the watch and all that. Like
no,
chase having insurance for your family, chase, bills being paid, chase all that
yeah.
along with the cars, along with all that.
And it goes back to what we said about how you get your clients. It's that line of thinking is going to help you get your clients because you don't want to. Because what you're going to end up doing is having clients that you don't want,
Mm.
and be
Yep.
at a studio that you don't want to be at. And now, are you
And
going
then
to
that's
be?
gonna make you do bad work. That's the worst part. So now
I
your
mean,
And then
brand
you
is
start to hate
suffering
what you
because
love.
they're gonna say exactly, and then they're gonna say, "Oh, this guy sucks." Well, really, you're really fire. You just made a bunch of bad decisions that cornered you to do something you didn't want to do because now you need the money, and it's the 31st of the month.
Come on, come on. So when it starts with the guy who's down the street talking about I makes it for $20-$30, no, bro, just do it. Just do it. Just stop separating yourself from the inception and making the record and understand that you're a part of that record too. And make the record.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out the rest of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm reading the comments right now and I see Rawway remixes. I wish I could have met you. I'm from the Netherlands, bro. I wasn't taking a shot at you, man. I was using you as an example, bro. Like, I know you in the Netherlands. I know we would have met you, but I'm just saying, like, I was using you as an example because you're doing the job. You didn't do nothing wrong in that. You're doing the job as a producer nowadays. It's a lot of email work. It's a lot of send it out. You know what I mean? It's a digital
Yeah.
era. So yeah, I
Yeah.
would, just use you as an example, man. All love. Yes, sir. All love, my boy. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Next
Wow.
question.
What? So we never really went through plug-in chains. We never really went through compressor settings.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what we did cover is the mentality
Because
that you really can't find anywhere on the internet.
with compressor chains, all that stuff, that's on you.
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
on if I got a session, if we took a session from Prizzy, Jordan, and me, and open all of those sessions up, where it's the same person. Let's say it's the same song, same artist recorded. The settings will be different. The
Mm-hmm.
result can be the same, but the
Yeah.
settings will be different. So, but
Yeah.
and what that is it's us going through the process, us really putting the work in and understanding and creating our sound and creating our process, you know?
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah.
so we
I
definitely
gotta I gotta add an analogy to that as far as finding your sound. You got to look at your sound like a destination, and you're a creative Uber driver. If you've been around the block a few times, you can go left, you can go right, but you always end up in the same place because you know where you're going. So don't try to get like turn by turn. It's cool when you don't know where you're going yet, but the goal is to find out where you're going because no matter where you start off, if you know I want to get to Sunset Boulevard, somebody can drop you off in Michigan and you'll still find your way. It'll just take a little longer, but you know how to get to where you're trying to go. And that's what
mhm,
Travis is saying. That's what I'll say all day. Find your sound. Find
mhm,
what matters to you. It's not a cookbook. You can't use the same ingredients because I mean it's different ingredients. You can't use the same recipe.
and it's
That's just
in
what it
you
is.
already. It's in you
Yeah.
already. It's in you
You
already.
got a
Like,
sound, man. You gotta find your bounce. That's the
mhm,
goal. You find your bounce and now you're irreplaceable. That's when the price goes up.
Yeah.
mhm. Prizzy, when I met Prizzy, he said, I'm about to be a mix engineer. I'm a mix engineer. I'm a mix engineer. I can mix. Grammy. You know what I'm saying? Like for mixing. You know what I mean? Like that's where it goes though, because it's a trajectory you have to follow. You have to understand that you have to decide where you're going in this shit, man. You can't just be creative. We're all creative. Everybody's creative. The creative part of your brain is the smallest part of your brain, and it's attached to the most intelligent part of your brain. Look it up. I'm telling you, if you're smart with social studies and history and stuff, then your creativity is going to come with something in that area. Your creativity is not going to be in cooking because you don't know nothing about cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But your sound is a lot. It's based
really off of experiences.
So with what you were, what Travis was just talking about, Prizzy, and I've seen this time and time again, and maybe you can say that. I would love to hear your take on this, Prizzy. But I believe ultimately, and I think sometimes it's talked about enough. I think other times it's like it's kind of shunned. But I think a lot of people come on YouTube like looking for these, secret sauce like compressor things. And that's not really going to make you a great engineer. And I know we talked about this earlier, but I think the reason why Prizzy was probably able to talk like that is because he was getting in the reps. So like, I just got back on the basketball court, and it's been a little bit. I just got back on the court yesterday. So whenever you give me the ball, I'm probably going to get some assists today. I may take a couple shots because my confidence wasn't there. But I promise you, whenever I get back to, I'm hooping about 3 or 4 days a week, maybe up at the Y, maybe that fourth week, give me the ball.
Buckets?
Yeah.
Easy money. Yeah. I may try out for the G League. But the only way you get that confidence, it's not by the secret cheat codes. It's by the reps. And whenever you don't even worry about confidence, I think it's by putting in those reps. And Prizzy was in, and he's told me about it. The 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. sessions, like day after day after day after day after day after day after day. I think by eventually you start getting the confidence to where you can just be speaking that thing, and it's not out of arrogance, it's out of like pure confidence. And you see, you got the Grammy coming through this year.
Okay, so I see a question in the chat, y'all, that I think we should touch on. It says, where do you draw the line though? Doing something for free with an artist that may be talented, but this is how you're trying to eat right now. Where do you draw the line?
That's a loaded question.
It's boundaries.
You draw the line.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on. All right. So where do you draw the line through free with an artist that may not be talented, but is trying to eat right now? Okay. I think as an engineer, your job is to be somewhat of an A&R. If you don't feel that they're that talented, keep it moving. Now, you may have personal ties with them. They may be your cousin, your best friend, whatever. Like that's a little different. But if you don't see them as that talented,
you
and they're not paying you.
You said it in the question, like you said they suck, and you're doing it for free. So that means you're being tortured, and you're doing it for free. Man, no. The reality to it is the fact that they're not talented, but this is how you're trying to eat. Is confusing, because how are you trying to eat off of somebody who's not talented? How are you trying to eat with someone who's not talented? You're not trying to eat. You're wasting your time. You're being hopeful. You're being optimistic. If they suck, charge them. They probably not gonna have the money to pay you, but they sucked anyway. So if they did have the money, it was a win for you. If they didn't, they don't.
Yeah.
Charge them.
Let me hold on. Let me say something that I live by every single day of my life. There's a trifecta: good money, good music, good people. If they don't hit 2 out of those 3, don't do it.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
He's not paying you. The music's not good.
It's gone. What is he, a good person? Okay, cool. Be his friend.
That's cool, but
you
got to get 2 out of the 3 to even consider doing it. Period.
Somebody said you can't make a good meal with poor ingredients. Exactly. So this is exactly what it is. You can't do it. So
maybe if you took the free part out of it, I know at least for me on the come up, y'all may be different, but like I know for me, like I quit everything. I probably wouldn't recommend doing that, but like I dropped all my jobs like to start running a studio. So like I remember in the beginning, like I maybe had one client out of a lot of clients that was really good. But I think that goes back to getting your reps in. And like whenever you do finally find that art, and like now I was getting paid for all these sessions, and some of them I was like, man, like I really don't want to be doing this. But it allowed me to get my reps in on the front end. So whenever I did find that vessel, it was like it's engineering's this easy. It's like, dang.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
even because you done got your reps in. So if you took free out of the equation, I know at least my take on it was be like, hey,
Mhm.
like on the come up, I leaned a little bit, but it definitely gets to the point now to where it's like, if I'm working on your stuff, I probably want to like it.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
and if you're an artist and somebody's working on your stuff, you want them to like it.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like we do better at things we like. That's just human nature.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
you want them to like it. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's I don't know where we at on time, but I had a couple more things to talk about if you guys are down or
Yeah.
like
Yeah. We got a couple
Yeah.
more questions too. I'm
okay.
seeing.
All right, let's do
I see
however you
one
want.
by Mixed by Tay again. If I do my first mix for free or half off for a good artist, hoping they can't find the same quality mix somewhere else and they come back to me. So I'll answer this one.
Mhm.
I think if you're trying to land a new client, it's worth considering doing it for free if you really want to work for that client because it's more so you're focused on a relationship that could be, you know what I mean? But half off, to me, I would lean away from the coupon discount game. You either doing the price or we doing it for free or we're leveraging something in between like a point. But if they don't know what you can do and you're not that skilled yet, show them what you can do first because that's gonna whatever your price is, they're gonna lean more towards going with that because now, oh, we need this. We need this sound. What you did to my vocals, nobody can do. Cool. This is how much it is.
Mhm.
And the rest is on them.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. That question, the way it says it's like you're missing the big picture. You're missing the big picture. If you're saying I do my first mix for free or half off for a good artist, you're missing the big picture. It's the conversation we're having about doing it for free isn't about the money. It's about getting. Oh, it could be about money, but it's about getting to where the real money's at. It's about getting to a actual successful situation. You don't want to just be recording
Hmm.
crap. You know what I mean? You want to be in
Yeah.
a scenario where you're recording hits and bangers and you know what I mean, local hits and at least local hits. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
want to be hitting the radar. Like, and if you're not trying to do that, you may not be, but you need to have an understanding of mentally what you're trying to do in this thing. You know what I mean? Like you gotta like, am I trying to be great? Am I trying to compete with these people? Am I trying to just have a studio to have a good life? And I like working on music. That's cool too. You got to have a studio and have a good life and work on music. Like you have to understand what you're trying to do in this thing. You know what I mean? Because doing like running that half off, like what? No, like make a deal with them for later down the road. Like, hey, bro, do this. I'll look out. Okay, cool. Now go to your job and make your money because it's not contingent. Like, don't come in just sitting here thinking about the money because that's how you're gonna get tricked.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna
I
get
agree.
tricked, and you're not gonna be as good as you think you are.
Hmm.
You know. So that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, I want to. It sounded like you had a couple things you wanted to talk about, and
Um.
I'm sitting here just taking notes. I'm gonna watch this back. You
Mhm.
done gave us about 30 pieces of content we're gonna be able to repost.
Mhm. Repurpose it, baby.
Yeah.
A
Um. I think. Oh, I really wanted to ask. How do y'all feel about template culture in the engineering space?
in a recording sense or in a mixing sense?
It's a template like it's template go to your template you got a template you gotta see your template you gotta write a template you gotta make my
Yeah. Yeah.
template
Okay.
like
Okay.
what's up with how do you guys feel about template culture in general like template culture.
Um, in a recording sense, I think it's cool for people who don't engineer
Mm-hmm.
because they can get from A to B. The problem is if they run into any problem, it's a wrap. If they get your
Mhm.
template and they got some type of plugin alliance, something in it, and they don't have it, it's a wrap. That's the
If it's
problem with
routed,
template
if it's
culture.
routed all funky, if it's routed all funky and
Exactly.
like
Man,
and busting your logic.
Exactly. Or they gave you a template and they got like a limiter on the end, but you don't even know what a limiter is. Like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Me, I thought I always looked at a template as something that is to help you move faster once you got to a point to know, hey, I'm gonna pull up the arc compressor every time I do this. So why am I gonna pull up the arc compressor every time
right.
when I could just have it already out?
yeah,
You know what I mean? But now
Exactly.
we're getting to a point where
Exactly.
you're going into studios and people are, let me buy your template. You sell your template? And it's like, yeah, but you need a lot of other stuff. So I can sell you this, make a quick dollar, but or do you know how to, you know, and there's some people who could buy a template and use it. Like, I'm not saying that some people, like everybody doesn't know how to use a template. Like, if you learn engineering, then yeah, definitely by all means, like study other people's templates, study other people's sessions, pull it up, like do it, like that's how we learn. But
Yeah.
if you just out here just trying to get people's templates and think that's gonna turn you up,
yeah,
that stuff irks me because it's like you're missing, and it's hard to explain to them because it's like you're missing what we're actually doing with this template. You're literally
Yeah.
just trying to do what we do, and that's
Yeah.
gonna take you nowhere. So it's almost like we're setting you up, unless you know how to use it. Like if you study and you actually know signal flow and you know how to like you know how to actually like, you know what I mean, like you actually know it. Then, but I see a lot of
Yeah.
code now to where it's
I think with the template part, like as a recording engineer,
mhm,
say if for some odd reason you were sick and you were like, hey, I need you to come in and record Rod for some odd reason if we both in the Bahamas at the same time.
mhm,
I would probably understand the basics of your template, but template is based around comfort mainly. So some things may not have a rhyme or reason. It's just more what you personally know. Just like my template, my mix template. It's not like, oh, if you have it, you know how to do what I'm doing. No, you'd be completely confused. There's some things that are straightforward, but it's not about the sound of it, it's about the functionality. And me, as the designer of the template, I know how everything functions, right? You
mhm,
might know, I would probably use your template at best for the effects because he may have a certain reverb that you guys really love to use or a certain delay that you really love to use. So instead of me trying to reverse engineer the last record I heard from you, this just gets me in the ballpark a whole lot faster. But for any engineer, that's all you would really use it for. If I didn't know what
yeah,
I was doing, it would probably buy me a year of recording everybody to sound exactly like how you record. But I think in the long run, it would stunt your growth. I think.
mhm. Man, my template has, I'm gonna tell you straight up, my template has a record track, a vocal track, my processors and stuff that I run, aux track that I run my vocals through, and then aux track for effects and aux track for effects like delays, and another aux for delays or a different timing delay and a different timing delay because I want to get to those fast. But it's only one track for audio when I open up my template and start a recording session. Why? Because I don't know what the fuck we about to do. Like I need to
Yeah,
move from according to the record. You know what I mean? So I
exactly.
may have stuff hidden
Exactly.
back there that's like, oh, I need to pull up this. I need to pull up these tracks so I could do this. I need to pull up this track so I could do some backgrounds. I need to pull up this track. But you don't, that's not there. You don't see it. It's literally one track. And when I need another
Yeah.
track, duplicate that track and then I make my adjustments. And then I duplicate that track and I make my adjustments. I don't need to pull it up and have 100 tracks because I'm listening to the song. I'm working with the artist. You know what I mean? I'm in the moment. Like we're making music, we're making a song. So it's like, okay, this cool. Oh, what do we? Okay, cool. Boom, boom. I can get that quick. I can get there quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to have it laid out like the last song you did, and the last song before that, and the last song before that, I feel like it could hinder you from being as creative as you really could be.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's
And you know
like,
what? I'll add to that too. I'll add one more thing to that. If you're making your own template, a lot of it is a milestone you've reached sonically. That's gonna save you time next time around. You might do some crazy delay throw that goes around your head And you probably did it in a time where it wasn't even appropriate. You might have done it on some country song and you send it and they say, we hate this. But in your mind, you're like, yo, this will be crazy the next time I try this on this other thing. So now that might become a part of your template. So now you don't have to try to reinvent the wheel and spend 15 minutes doing something you already put that time into.
Yeah.
So that's where our templates come into play. That's where mine comes into play. There's certain things that I've done that I'm like, I want to do that again. And I add it to my template. And then it just becomes a part of what I do moving forward. And it's always interchangeable. I'm taking stuff out, I'm adding stuff basically every other week to my template. So it changes too.
Because what Pro Tools did, they added, I forgot what it was, it like Pro Tools 8 when they added the
Track
template
presets.
feature and the template. Remember that Pro Tools gives you all those
Oh,
templates.
as soon as you open the session. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
it didn't used to be like that. It used to be that your template was a previous session that you created as a lone
You had to
session.
import
And you
session
had to
data.
import
Yeah,
session data to get that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And you put
yeah.
it in there. And I like that era better because it made more sense to what you're doing because you're using one of your previous sessions. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, like if I pull up a Pro Tools template that they pre-made for me, I can't use that.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because the person who created that is a techie. They're a person who
Mhm.
has studied. This is what they need in the studio. They haven't sit here and made a hit. You're trying to make a hit. You're trying to
Exactly.
record something that's a banger. You're trying to record good music. Like they don't have that insight
Mhm.
and that intuitive. Not to say nothing's wrong with them, but they just walk a different side of the engineering spectrum, which is the techie, which is the software developers and stuff like that. You know, so me with all the knowledge I have, I pull up a template. It said vocals and this, and I pull it up. It's just so much. It's overwhelming, and it's like, what song is this for?
Yeah, same.
This is already a pre-made song. That's already. I just ain't. You know what I mean? So that should let you know right
Yeah.
there. Like create your own templates. Create your own templates.
Mhm.
Create your own workflow. Create your own process. Create. You know what I mean? And in doing that, you're gonna get better. You're gonna learn what you're actually supposed to be doing, and you'll figure out what you do and don't like, and it'll help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say too, like I do think for me at least, templates were helpful, like if you use it the right way. Like I know I told you, Travis, like watching your or reading your Sound on Sound article, like on the come up, that was how I learned things. And I remember seeing Seth Firkins, his Sound on Sound article. And man, like
RIP.
a lot of my
God bless the dead.
a lot of man, like his template is it still inspires how our recording template works. But there's things that you will replace. So like I think looking at the templates, because like I couldn't say this. We've got a lot of template videos on our YouTube channel. The
Mhm.
way that I would look at it is watch those videos, kind of see what the plugins are doing, throw it on yours, see if you like it. If you like it, plug it in. If you don't, take it off. But ultimately, you definitely want to mold, just like with just echoing what Prizzy and Travis were saying. You ultimately want to kind of mold your own. So
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
gonna make you. It's gonna make you so much better.
yeah,
And there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with a template. It's just don't. And there's nothing wrong with buying a template, but please have some engineering experience before. Don't think buying a template is gonna take you to the top.
yeah,
You're gonna waste a
Or
lot of
just
people's.
take that template and like spend that time understanding the why. That's what Jordan was
Yeah,
saying. Like, don't
yeah.
just take it and run with it. Try to reverse engineer it and figure out
Oh,
why they did what they did.
no,
That's
that's what.
that's where a template comes in handy.
No, I ain't gonna lie. That's what I did with people's templates. I
That's
would
what all
reverse.
of us did. So if
yeah,
that was if that's the point, then yes.
But in
Because
order to
I
reverse,
did it.
engineer, you
I
have
used to
to learn
open up
what it
old sessions.
is. Mhm.
Yeah, but that's a teaching tool in and of itself
yeah,
because even seeing what people don't do is a teaching tool, right? Some people have 30 auxes, some people have none, and it just goes out on one and two. And that alone says, oh, you can make a hit just going out on one and two with no buses? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So it's all teaching.
I just read a question that said, I just moved to Central Florida trying to gain clientele all over again. I was the go-to guy back home for all the local social media. Seems like an easy answer. I'm lost at starting over. My suggestion in that regards would be, man, get with a team and offer that team something. Like get with people who are doing it already in Florida and help move their situation forward. You know what I mean? You got to give to get. So find people who are like, you know what I mean? Find some people who are already doing it. Find the circles that are already you know what I mean, doing it. Find the biggest studios. People are doing music everywhere. So find the places where they're going and devote something to that place. And you'll probably get something out of it.
Yeah. I want to say it's really about adding value. As an engineer, if you can understand how to add value, that's how you become valuable. That's it. That's the name of the game. You walk into a room, no matter where you're from, if you walk in and say, let me record this. I used to literally go studio to studio, room after room, after recording, and just pop my head in the room. Oh, this hard. Let me mix this. Oh, we don't have any money. Give me the session. Let me mix it.
Mm-hmm.
It was the ripple effect in me saying, hey, I want to add value to you first. I know what you can give me. We both know what you can give me, but you don't know what I can give you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the biggest key right there.
Yeah. And
Hey,
I know Tay's in here too. I know Tay's one of our premium members. You're talking about social media. I know Tay jumped off of one of these calls one night, and just through intentional like networking too, on social, he was able to find like a handful, maybe about 10 A&Rs. Correct me here if I'm wrong, Tay. But he found some of their contact information. He was really rocking with their stuff, and he offered them the free mix. I know we haven't connected since you did that, but I know he was able to land certain clients just by like, reaching out, an easy DM. I think a lot more people than you would think are actually checking and reading their DMs than you would think. So
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But that's
with
the
Yeah.
way, man.
the heart
They say breaking in the
mindset,
industry for a reason, man. Yeah,
Oh yeah, you definitely got to kick the door open, and if you see the door cracked, put your foot in it and don't let it shut all the way.
yeah,
And slide your leg on
yeah,
in, and then your torso, and then
hey,
you
look
know
at
what I
that.
mean. You get in there.
yeah.
You got to
And I mean,
do
if
it.
you go into a new town, if you go into a new city, man, like this might sound a little off, but when I first moved to Atlanta, I looked at it kind of like American Gangster, like Frank Lucas or something like that. Like I want people to try out what I feel is blue magic, and hopefully they like it enough to keep calling me back and keep calling me back to the point where this is the only place they can get this thing they're looking for. And then
Mm-hmm.
you just put a price on it, you know. But if you're going anywhere, any new place, sample it, give it out, give it out. You don't know anybody anyways. You probably at home spending your day looking at what somebody else is doing. Spend that time giving value, add value. If you don't know who to find, you still got the internet. You could find who's in Florida or wherever you at. Find them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Find
Florida,
them.
I don't know
Find
what
them.
part of
Figure out how to
Florida.
add value.
It's Central Florida. Okay, so that must be like Orlando area, all that, up to Gainesville. I'm assuming. In Central Florida popping.
Yeah,
Orlando
staying
area,
outside of Disney.
they got
You be all right.
yeah, they got artists. I'm not gonna name them, but they got a lot. They got a lot of rappers in Florida. Like Florida's coming up, especially in the rap game. And he's in Orlando. Okay, yeah, Orlando, definitely. You know what I mean? Definitely, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Orlando, you could find some people in Orlando. I know for a
You got
fact.
options.
I know, yeah. I got some guys. Well, they'll be coming up soon on the my audio academy.
Hey.
I would suggest them to the guys. But is my audio academy a playoff of my hero academy?
I've never heard of
Nah, that's a
my hero.
Jordan question.
My hero
What is My
academy.
Hero Academy?
I think it's an anime, right?
So
That
I
sounds
think
like
me and
somebody that'd
Prizzy's
be
out of
fighting.
that game.
It's an anime cartoon.
Yeah.
I,
I know Maddox would be the
Yeah.
person to talk
I
to
was
about
gonna
that.
say we missing the main guy that can answer that question.
Yeah. I
God,
think he
Guess
has
I
the
was
same
just
question though.
overwhelmed and overthinking.
yeah, it
Yeah, I mean
happens.
it's tough going to a new place, man. Like I get it, but Orlando, you got people. You
Yeah,
just
it's
gotta
people
find them and
in
add value.
studios in Orlando. It's studios in Orlando. Shout out to Stark Lake Studios. It's studios in Orlando.
Fire.
So,
Heartbreak Hutch.
Yeah. Shout out to Heartbreak Hutch too, man. I seen a little bit earlier. He's another South Carolina native down in Charleston. So putting on for the state.
Hey, man, I feel
So
like we
yeah,
all need an air horn.
Yeah, we need to work on that.
It's like I might say something and I think I'm like doing something, but then I just got nothing to.
I'll
Nothing to
tell you
push.
what. I'll tell you what. Prizzy needs. We need a little church organ, and I need to hit him with a little run real quick
Hey,
because
yeah.
every once in a while Prizzy will start preaching.
I need
I
one.
can
We
see
got room in here.
Pastor
yeah.
Prizzy, Apostle Prizzy.
I'm gonna show y'all this. I'm gonna show y'all this. This thing's pretty cool, man. Like you can,
you could change it to your voice, talk like this.
you can talk like this.
Yo.
Like this, and do your thing.
You can talk like this.
You can talk like this, so
That's fire. A little demonic, but fire.
So yeah.
What is that?
It's a Roadcaster.
Roadcaster.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, I got 3 more A&R replies. Bigger A&Rs too. All right,
I don't
player,
know.
let me hold $1.
I don't know what
Let
that
me hold
means.
$5.
He was one of our one of the members that had reached out to some of the A&Rs that I was talking about a little earlier.
Oh, okay. Dope. Well, congratulations, bro.
Man, he made those connections like in a matter of like 24 hours too. It was like some intentionality on social.
Fire.
My brother.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, Zone's still in here. Shout out to Zone. Zone Hefner.
Hey.
The SoundCloud era. Y'all remember that era? 2016, 2017, SoundCloud era, 2015.
He said y'all remember like it wasn't.
I mean, things change. You got things change so quick,
Yeah,
changes so fast. It's like different eras as it goes. Like right now, we in the.
I got a question. Travis, who you listening to right now?
Who am I listening to?
Like, who do you rock with right now?
Of course, Rod. Lil Baby's fire. I actually like NLE too. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like a lot of. I'm not gonna say all because someone be tripping, but I like a lot of the young guys. You know what I mean? Anti the Menace. He's got some stuff banging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I really like the young guys and what they doing, man. I can't lie. You know what I mean? Like the new era.
Yeah.
I mean, like the we got I like NBA. You know what I mean? NBA got some stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I really like the new young guys. You know what I mean? Of course, still Kodak still going. You know what I mean? Like definitely Memphis. All those rappers out of Memphis is going crazy. You know what I mean? Like
a lot of them.
ESTG definitely still snapping. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's I definitely listen to everything. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I could pretty much find a couple good records on all these people, decent stuff. You know what I mean? So, but I like what the young guys is doing. You know what I mean? It's a little Renaissance-y, but you know, I like doing. If you get what I mean by Renaissance, it's a little. I get. It. I like where we're going. I like where we're headed. So definitely. But of course, my favorite out of the young boys is of course Rod. You know what I mean? That's not being biased. That's just I like substance. I like stuff that is like storytelling, or you can get something from them. Introspective things. Somebody said Griselda. Griselda's fire. Griselda's dope. Yeah. You know what I mean? They definitely carved out a lane for themselves, and they did a lot. They did what a lot of people told them they couldn't do at the time, which was stick to what they liked and deliver that. That's one thing I always respected about Griselda is that they just stuck to it. You know what I mean? The sample error, that was the error. Dipset error, that was the error, and they continue to take that into where we're at now. I'll fuck with them.
Cool, man. I know we're about an hour 45 in. I want to be respectful of your time.
Yeah. Good though, man. We got to do a part 2, man.
Let's run it back.
Eventually, point, you know
after we end the broadcast, we'll chop it up.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll definitely be back.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. I definitely don't want to hop off the podcast I mean, we'll obviously drop all of the live stream here.
Mhm.
We'll obviously drop your socials down in the description whenever we post it. But man, like I would love, because I know you got some things happening too. What's maybe like the best way to one, like just see your platform, but I know you also got an audio engineer kind of like training platform on the
Mhm.
works too, right?
Yeah. So
Maybe kind of speak on that a little bit.
I created a platform where I drop tips and tricks at and stuff like that, and just insight, and you know what I mean, help build out and just share my knowledge. It's called Session Economics, and the one thing I never liked about the music industry is a lot of people's value came from and this is we don't got to go down this conversation today, but a lot of people's value comes from hiding the knowledge in the music industry, and I never liked that because I had to find stuff out, and then I'm like, wait, you could have just told me this, dog, and I could have just moved on, and we could have, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
um I I like to just share the knowledge because I'm gonna do me, you're gonna do you. So I give you that knowledge and you do you with it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna so I share a lot of like tips and tricks and things, you know what I mean, at Session Economics. That's Session Economics, session spelled regular, economics spelled ECONO, and then mix. So Session Economics. And you can follow that at Instagram and YouTube. We'll be putting up tutorials real soon. That'll be coming, you know. And I just want to give you guys insight on you know what I mean, what it's like to make records. I've been making records and studying how to make records for so long, you know. So, and it says, Travis, how can I connect with you? DM me on my page, Travoski, TRVOSKI. That's my main page, or you could DM me on Session Economics. They have it written right there on the screen. You can see, you know. So follow both of those, and yeah, I'll definitely connect with you. I'll definitely hit you up. You know what I mean? It's, you know, nothing too crazy. So it's all love. You know, I'm here to share.
Man, you put on a clinic and nothing short of it tonight.
Thank you,
And
guys.
like you said, like not a lot of people talking about this stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
this is like,
Yeah.
man, like this would have changed a lot for me. I got started probably about 13 years ago. And if I would have had tonight 13 years ago, I would
Mm-hmm.
probably be a little bit further along. I would be a lot further along. So man, we definitely appreciate you hopping on. When Prizzy gave me the word that you were available, I told you before we hopped on, and I'm not just saying this because we got a little crowd of people, but like I was kind of fanboying because I'd already been following your stuff. I followed your page, read your articles,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, man.
Well, I'm glad you guys. I appreciate you guys having me, man. It was fun
Yeah,
having
man.
it, you know what I mean. So definitely, let's give them a round of applause to all the people. You know,
That's for you, man.
and,
Yeah, I
appreciate you
like
guys.
this.
Appreciate you guys, man. So,
That's
check
hard.
out part 2, and I'll be back for part 2. It won't be soon, but it'll be soon, other than later.
Soon enough.
But it will
We'll get them on here.
You got some projects you got to work on right
be soon
now.
enough. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We got
Oh yeah.
coming in the pipeline. So, um, just follow me on the gram and hit me up if you got any questions, man. I'm here. Let's move this engineering culture forward. I appreciate my audio academy. I love it. Um, it's just another thing moving this engineer culture forward. And like I said on my rant, guys, let's just continue to move it forward so that these young guys know they're coming in with their, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? They're coming in with their you know. So
I
so all
like that one
right,
too.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
All right, guys.
all right, love, fellas.